What does it take to start a festival, to build a creative community, and to remain relevant in the creative space? This is what we're getting into today. You're tuned in to the Lens and Lines podcast. I am your host, Light Orie. And in the studio with me is someone who has done it all. I am talking of no other than the pioneer of the Abuja Photo Festival, mentor and creative leader, Osaze Efe. Osaze, you're welcome on the podcast.
Thank you so much, Light. Happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
I've been following your story for a while and the festival as well. How did you come about starting up the festival? What inspired you? I'm sure our audience would like to know what was the inspiration behind and how you came about the idea.
Thank you once again. I think I'll backtrack to your introduction. Okay. I've just pretty seen bits and pieces. Okay, because there's still a long way to go. Very, very long way to go. There are photo festivals, there are creative communities who are 50, 60 years running in other parts of the world, and we're barely less than 10 years. So we still have a long way to go. But however, the journey has been quite interesting. We started around 2016. But before 2016, I was, a petty photographer, if I'm to use that word. However, I had big dreams that were inspired when in my university days. So during my school days, I studied agriculture, University of Benin, graduated to 2006, 2007 session. I'm not that old. But during my undergraduate days, I knew for a fact that I was meant to build something. I was meant to create something. I was meant to put something out there that others would use to scale their life and move their life forward. But I didn't particularly know what it was. So I would read Financial Times. There's this newspaper, I'm not sure if they are still in existence. Financial Times was a business newspaper. I would read Business Day. I would read books, self-development books, business books. I would spend about 60-70% of my money in school then just buying this material, developing myself. Because I knew that when I leave school, I wasn't going to beg to apply. And up until this time, I've never written an application for a job. I've never done a 9-to-5 since I left school. Immediately after school, I had a relative in Abuja who had a photo studio. So I came in and I saw the way they were managing the photo studio. And I knew that there were business gaps. I just got to put my mind around a couple of things they were doing. A photo studio and a lab that photographers would come to do pictures, print pictures. Then it would say to. So I brought in a lot of structure, just helping to organize the photo studio to see that they were not losing money and leaving money on the table. A few things happened. I had to leave the photo studio, went back to Benin, stayed in Benin for a couple of weeks, came back to Abuja. I think that was 2011 or 2010, 2011 or so, came to Abuja, started from ground zero. But while I was in that studio, I started fiddling with cameras. I started, trying to really understand what this camera thing was about, what this photography thing was about. And so when I came back, the only thing I knew, the only tradable skill I had was how to take a picture on manual, or on auto. But there was one thing that I was good at. I could talk. I could sell. So I would walk to offices. Then, of course, security in Nigeria, in Abuja, wasn't like this then. So I could knock on offices and tell them I'm the best photographer in Abuja. And a few people gave me a chance. And some of the people I knew when I was in that studio were also a takeoff point for me. Of course, I kept in touch. And then I one day walked into Federal High Court. And I saw where they wrote, if I want to buy dinner ticket for the Nigerian Bar Association Abuja branch dinner, call these numbers. So I picked up my phone and I told them that, hey guys, heard that you guys are having a party in a place. I would like to come take pictures for you guys. You know, I don't have to take pictures. But meanwhile, I didn't have a camera, and I would borrow a D40, a Nikon D40 to use, which I even spotted one time, given to me by a guy that I will forever be indebted to. I spotted the camera, he didn't complain. He went to fix it himself. The guy has moved into a couple of other things now. So I called the number. The man said on the other side that, okay, I'm sure we already have a photographer. I don't even know why they put my name there, but I'm a part of the committee. But I'm sure the committee has sorted that. But however, I'll save your number and I'll be in touch. Fast forward 2012, January, he called me and I was going to do baptism for one of the daughter and a birthday for another daughter of his the same day. And I think I charged him for both stuff there 25,000. Did it, submitted, and the guy liked the job as fully done, you know, as they were. He liked the job, and I became his friend. Beyond just a client, I became his friend. That's a long story, for another day. However, while taking pictures, like I said, I knew there could be more to this. I knew this was not it. This was not particularly it. So that dream was there, that drive was there, that inner ache, was there that just wouldn't let me rest. Then 2016, of course, I could now take care of myself. I could now, because that guy that I did something for in 2012, like I said, became a mentor and a friend. He introduced me to his powerful friends. And that opened a couple of doors and opportunities. We are still very much in touch. Around December of 2016, I had this conversation with a friend, a well-known photographer, a portrait photographer in Abuja, and I told her that, see, where I am right now, I can't afford going to Lagos. All the big names in Lagos. I remember seeing there'll be something on a salad advert, and I just couldn't put my mind around it. Like, who is this guy? Who's this guy? So names like that, names like Ilechama, the Lex that below. I couldn't afford going to Lagos. So I'm like, how can we create something in Abuja where photographers like me who are just there doing trying and error, just doing this thing just to survive, can meet, share learning, share experience, share insight, network, build a community. But most important, how do we get these big names in Abuja, in Lagos, to come also share their experience and mentorship with the guys in Abuja, guys who were like me as at that time. So I told the guy that I think we should do this. I remember when we were in Wuse too. I remember that it was, towards the end of the year, and the guy laughed and he said in his language, that, it's not somebody, if they will do something like that, it's not somebody like you. Yeah. So he said it, and I didn't know what he said. He just showed it aside. And of course, I had to just put it aside. Christmas of 2016, between Christmas and New Year, my friend, then I would go and stay with my friend in Dawaki, my friend all day Friday. I would stay there. I would leave my house, spend time with them and all of that. I'm forever grateful for that time of my life, and to his wonderful wife, Susie. So he had this series of motivational speeches that he would play, that we would just listen to. In one of the clips, Steve Jobs' speech was recorded. Different speakers, they had a way of, merging them, and it's really inspiring. I still have a couple of them on my laptop. One of the presentations, the guy said, Steve Jobs said, everything you call life were made by people who are not smarter than you. The day you understand that, your life will change. That statement is the energy of what the Abuja Photo Festival is today. He said that it hit me like a thunderbolt. I stood up and I said, this is it. Came back home. I had this very tiny phone. I would browse with it, reading about photo festival. Then I had this broken laptop. I would try to also research with it. So the more I read, the more I became consumed, the more I became involved. Then fast backtrack to 2003 when I visited Abuja. That's my relative. We think we had gone to Transcorp to do something, and I saw this guy, having a photo exhibition on the exhibition was driver's dexterity. So I picked the brochure then, 2003. I remember it very well. I've forgotten about it. So this is now 2017.
Oh.
For some strange reasons, that brochure, that exhibition brochure, has been with me all the while. For some strange reasons, it was still in my wardrobe. Of course, as I moved things and were just somehow there, I opened it and I saw the guy's number. And I called. Interestingly, he said he was leaving Abuja. He came to take some pictures of the president and he was on his way back to Lagos. I called him and I said, my name is Osaze, and sir, I saw your name, I saw your brochure, and look at what I'm thinking to do. And he said to me on the other side of the phone, Osaze, if you are ready and you are serious with this thing, I'm going to give you my 100% support. That's when he gets to Lagos, we shoot. His name is George Osodi. 12th of September, of course, I kept in touch with Mr. George Osodi. 12th of September, I had, of course, the team was built. I had a couple of friends, a team was built. We're doing our best. We didn't know. So if we knew what we know now, we most likely wouldn't have started the photo festival. We were too ignorant, and that became our power. That ignorance of not knowing what it takes to really pull a photo festival and build a creative community, that ignorance was our strength. Because in hindsight, we would have lacked the courage, fear of everything that would later happen would have scared us. But we've taken the leap. We just have to find a way to properly land. Even should we land with fracture, we'll be okay. So the team and myself, on the 11th of September 2017, I went to the airport, to the Abuja airport, to receive Mr. George Osodi myself. He was looking tired. He was exhausted. He had forgotten, when we sent him the invitation, he had forgotten that he was speaking that day. So when we're now getting ready close to the festival, we had to call him. He went from Port Harcourt, we were having a shoot in Port Harcourt, to Lagos to do a few things. From Lagos, he came for the shoot. 12th of September, the first Abuja Photo Festival kicked off. 12th to 14th of September. What was the inspiration? What was the idea? The idea was create a platform that young photographers who are where I used to be, will find meaning, will find direction, will find mentorship, will find clarity, and make their creative journey faster, quicker, and shorter. That's one. Then two, let's have something in Abuja. Lagos used to be the Mecca, but that is changing. Everybody would queue up to Lagos, but the Abuja creative landscape has changed dramatically in the last 10 years, that people from Abuja are now creating materials that can compete with the world. And the beautiful thing is, we are not in competition, but again, the power center is now not just revolved around one location as it used to be. So it's changing. So these were the contemplations, these were the thoughts I had, that we can have an alternative universe, if I may use that to describe it, where we can have a community in Abuja who is doing stuff. So those were the things that inspired this work, and a brief journey of how it has been.
Wonderful. That's an inspiring journey. I mean, moving from your humble beginnings and university days, you've always had that in mind, that you wanted to do something big, and then talking about that life-changing moment, reading Steve Jobs' quotes, if I recall very well what you said about it, it's something that I believe we should all look back on. If you're looking at some of the amazing works people have created, and then the world is a better place, is because people did it.
Yeah.
So so far, I mean, I've attended a couple of the festival, and it's really huge, especially looking at the veteran photographers in the media space, and that you're bringing on board to connect with local artists as well. Wonderful. So as we all know, I mean, starting out something, of course, it's not easy, especially in this region, in the country's capital, when you have Lagos, that has always been
for independence,
the colonial hub, the creative hub. I even I don't know why the Lagos Festival didn't hold last week. Is it due to funds, or what could that be? Why?
Lagos Photo has done a lot actually. I have a couple of bits and pieces of what they've done, but again, we cannot have enough. Models change. Just like what we bring into the Abuja Photo Festival now. It used to be so after the first edition, subsequent second edition to the 9th became October because of the rains. Because a lot of activities happen outdoor, due to the expansion of the festival. So haven't done it 8 years. So the 9th year, one of the things that we're also beginning to introduce is monthly or bi-monthly activities to keep feeding the community, because it's growing, it's expanding, and listening to feedback. Of course, people like you and a couple of other friends that we have, that okay, why not let us explore this? So that model is beginning to change. So it's possible that they are also exploring new models. I think I was reading on their page that they are looking at become biannual. So whatever the vision is, it remains. But how you implement that vision, would change. But they've couple of times drew inspiration from the work that they do. And of course, my mentor, Mr. Jojo Sodi, was an integral part of that work. And there are times based on that experience, he would advise, so why not introduce this to what you guys are doing in Abuja and all that. So
okay. So one other takeaway from the journey, I would call it, was you saying the things you were not aware of, your ignorance, were also your strength. I mean, I really liked that part, because most times we spend so much time thinking about what we want to do, what we want to achieve, and then before you know, we'll move on to something else.
Actually, that is important, because you can't figure it out. I'm a Christian by faith. In the Bible, God told Abraham, go to a land that I will show you. He didn't tell him he will pass through Egypt. He didn't tell him everything that will happen in between. He told the children of Israel, go leave Egypt and go to a land flowing milk and honey. And there was the wilderness, there was the Red Sea, there was River Jordan, and all of that. So in life's journey, knowledge can become our captor. Just do it. You figure it out as you're going. You and I, when we started out in this creative journey that we're doing, how far we've come was not in any way what we knew we would go through. Of course, it's been also had it. The Abuja Photo Festival had its huge challenging moments. But when you know that what you're doing is not just for yourself, you would pay the price to hold into trust for the people you're holding it for. So when we started the photo festival, if I knew then that funding was going to be a challenge, I probably would have just minded my business.
All right.
If I knew that working with people would be a problem, I would have minded my business. But this is it. Now we're here. How do we move on? It is important that every one of us, regardless of what we do, we find our why. We find our it and stick to it. And live beyond the space that we're only living for ourselves. It's an interconnected world. God brought every one of us into this world to make a contribution. So when you understand that what you're doing, that's one picture you're taking. Yes, you're paid for it and you're commissioned for it and you're exhibiting that work, and the world is in Tokyo, is in Berlin, is in Paris, is in New York. But if you know that this story you're communicating goes beyond just money, just being what to eat, that you're communicating a story that contributes to human development, it heightens how you do your work. Mm-hmm. So if we saw the challenges when we started out, we would have backed out, but not seeing those challenges that we would see. I remember when we started, a friend of mine, senior friend of mine, who is in the NGO space, this first edition, just do it. Nobody's going to give you money. Nobody's going to give you money. Just do it to show that you can do this thing and people can see what you're doing. Now, to put money in it will not be difficult. This is the 9th edition. And we are still having that conversation. Okay. And the first edition, thankfully, we cannot remove the God factor out of this thing. Thankfully, I'll always be thankful to the Harry Powanto, Ambassador Harry Powanto of Indonesian Embassy as at that time of 2017. So we had done this flyer that we promoted on Instagram and got a call one day, and it was a foreign, a voice of a foreign accent. And she said, we saw this photo festival flyer and all of that on Instagram, and we'd like to have a meeting with you guys. I think that was around February, March. I'd like to schedule a meeting for June to discuss this thing. I said, June? What if the world ends before then? I said, we can schedule a meeting for next week. He said, okay, we'll check with the ambassador schedule, and he did. And we invited to the embassy Mr. Harry Powanto, a great friend. We started talking in March with his PA, Adri. I can't remember his last name. Talked about the photo festival. The man, incidentally, is a photographer, an amazing landscape photographer, who later also didn't only support the festival, also became one of the speakers in the 2nd edition of the photo festival. So we went there, told them the photo festival story the first time. They said, okay, let's come back. We went there. I'm sure we visited that embassy, saying the same thing again and again for not less than 7-8 times. It was just before the photo festival, the PA to the ambassador now said they just wanted to be sure that we knew what we're doing. Right. That was why they kept inviting us, asking us the same question, and incidentally, we kept giving the same answer. And then they became convinced that these guys knew what they were doing, and they gave us, I think it was 600,000 naira then. That was the only funding we got on the budget of about 3.5 million. We had to source the fund from, which is another story. Another day. So funding is a recurrent. So if we knew that it would come this way, we probably would not have. But again, the beautiful thing about just following that inner nudge is that it's going to also lead you to blessings. So I've come to know amazing people at different level across different sectors doing the photo festival. Of course, Mr. George will always be, like Paul the Apostle said, I have one father, but I have many instructors. George is the father of Osaze Efe, as long as photography and the Abuja Photo Festival is concerned. Then I have a lot of instructors in the course of this journey. And one of the embassies saw what we're doing, and I was in UTC. I got this WhatsApp call that they were asking me some questions. The line was breaking, and I did my best to answer, only for me to get an email that they were sending me to the United States of America for 2 weeks, all expense paid, for one art, exchange program. So we've had that blessing. We've had grants from a training opportunity from British Council, Goethe Institute, that also led to a couple of things. We've had friends in government. We have friends in the NGO space. We have friends in the media. Excuse me. So we've also had that too. But the highs and the lows, they don't mean a thing, because I and my team, we love what we're doing. We love just building this community. We love seeing that the photo festival became a launching pad for a lot of young photographers, became a point where relationships, connections were made between colleagues and mentors. Because all through the photo festival, there is hardly anybody we've not brought in from the Nigerian creative space to speak, either in person, which is about 95% of the time, or virtual. So that goodwill, that good time, we host this event, and there's this sense of fulfillment that we have made a contribution, to the world. So it's just been a mix of everything. But like I said, in the times when I get back home, but the times when I get we are not able to support you at the moment email, of which I have a lot. I'm thinking of doing an exhibition of those email someday. Wow. Those times where I will ask myself, Osaze, who sent you this? Why can't you just go and learn how to buy and sell?
Right.
Move on with your life. But there's been this inner fulfillment that it's worth it. It's worth it.
Right. Oh, wonderful, wonderful. So, I mean, you touched some parts of the challenges. I mean, in fact, you gave like a general explanation to some of the questions that I still have to ask. But then, hearing this, other person might think it's very easy. So long as I can just stop thinking too much and then go ahead and start something, So let's dive deep into these challenges, specifically some of them that you can speak to, and then how you were able to overcome them.
Okay, so we'll still go back to the money thing. So how I got past the challenge of money is I had to fund it myself. Bulk of the money. Still, just I think up until last year, the out of my money pocket reduced to still about 20, 25 to 30%.
Okay.
Before, it used to be the reverse. Sometimes it could be as much as 80. So could do the photo festival, and out of the photo festival, I'm paying debts. So the first photo festival, the first one, I can't remember what we urgently needed money for, and I was to pay my rent in about a few days. I took the 250,000 naira that I used to pay my rent, and I used it to do photo festival. Not only did I not have money, but we were owing the venue people that the images of the people that were exhibited were seized by the venue owners. Until I paid. So we paid him some money, he released some images. I don't even know how the remaining images where they are now, because we are still with the guy. But, is Mr. Jeff has been a great guy. Mr. Jeff, Thought Pyramid, great guy, because that was the first place he held. And of course, he's also a mentee of Mr. George, and Mr. George was able to really broker a lot of goodwill, in that space. So we paid the 250,000 naira that I was to make my house rent. I could now pay my landlord. Trouble started. The man took me to court, seized my properties. I had to live with my camera and my laptop, so I became a bit homeless. We were doing the second photo festival, 2018. I was sleeping on the floor of my ex-girlfriend's house. Yeah.
You guys are still dating then, or you?
No. She told her boyfriend that I was her cousin.
Wow.
So her boyfriend would come, I would excuse him. And she had a friend, a female friend, so I would sleep on the floor while the two ladies would sleep on the bed. So one day she would say, Oga, it's like you have photo festival, but when they call you and you're talking about photo festival, your accent becomes American. So I will forever be grateful to Josephine. So I would dress all cool, come for photo festival, and speak out English, give all the motivation to everybody, and everybody will have a good time. And I'll go back and sleep on the floor, and come back the next day and do photo festival. But thankfully, a lot has changed. We had that financial challenge, and how we got through it was just to keep taking a step at a time. And we just knew that it was going to get better. It was just going to get better. So sometimes the team members, of course, will bring in their own money. I take care of a couple of things. Then the embassy of Sweden, who has been our longest serving partner, came in, and well, not so much. But again, when you are fixed, 1 naira is a lot. So gradually. But one thing is certain, we were committed. We were committed to being authentic. we were committed, as imperfect as it was, we were committed to being authentic, which was so, even in the programming, the challenge we had with the programming was, like I said, we're driven by passion. But again, that knowledge gap at some point was so sure. So I started reading to see that we deliver a festival that was international, that was impactful. So I didn't just want us to do something for Abuja. The dream was, let's do something that people from the Europe, Asia, and other parts of Africa and the United States would come, and other parts of South America would come. So that knowledge challenge of we're doing something, but we are just at a level. The other thing how we handled that was, I had to research. I had to research, watch videos, and read a lot of material. The third challenge is having to work with people. Now, remember, we didn't have staff, paid staff. Everybody was a volunteer. And there's so much you can do with volunteers. How we got past that was to get people who would really drive this vision, because, like somebody would say, in a photo festival, we go chop. At some point, people want to go and do other things with their life to earn a living. I just had to pray, God, please give me good people. And part of the good people that also came working with us was, then she wasn't my wife, was this lady. She came, and that's another story. So those has been the challenges: funding, programming, knowledge for programming, and human capacity. So we dealt with funding by making personal sacrifice and keep refining the photo festival and making it relevant to different communities, to different constituencies, and the knowledge thing to be able to deliver something impactful. We overcame that by researching and reading about photo festivals, reading about photographers, reading about arts projects that are going on in different parts of the world. And for the human capacity, I just prayed. And people came, I shared the vision with them. And I am proud to say I have some of the most loyal volunteers for the photo festival, creative guys, committed guys, and, just taking the photo festival to another level.
Wonderful. That's really good. That's really good. So would you say, starting out, the idea you had at the beginning, the vision you had at the beginning and now, would you say it has remained the same, consistent, or how has it evolved? You understand? Are there things that you didn't expect that are coming up, or things are falling in place? Or, pleasant surprises as well over the years?
I want to see anything is actually out of the ordinary. If anything out of the ordinary is the fact that it has gotten way better. And the vision is still very, very, very strong, which is create a platform that empowers, that mentors, that train photographers who are where I used to be. That vision still very well remains, and in fact, it's growing. Because what we now have, what I have seen, it's strangers meet at the photo festival and they become friends. And they go on to do stuff that I am not even aware of. And I see content on social media. I'm like, what's happening here? They'll say, oh yeah, we're working on this. And I'm happy that they say, hey, I met this person at the photo festival. So that vision is still very much there. Another vision, it connects generations. So a lot of young photographers now have access to these senior photographers because they met at the photo festival. So that vision is still very much there. And what has helped us so much is just listening. Because listening is a skill. We live in a generation where everybody wants to talk about public speaking. But nobody is doing public listening. So a lot of the young people who came for the photo festival, we see them, Mr. Osaze, why not look at it this way? Why not look at it this way? And like I always say, I am just holding the photo festival in trust. It's not necessarily I just happen to be the face. I just happen to be the man in front. It's a community that we're building. It's a community that we're creating. So we get feedback from the community and we use that to adjust the programming. But most importantly, God has been so gracious that we have the ears of all the senior photographers in Nigeria and beyond, who we sometimes ask, Oga, what do you think? sometimes on their own, they will send me a message, they will call, and so I said, why not think about this way? Just even last week, I had a conversation with one of them, Andre Sebo, who went for an exhibition in Saudi Arabia. Awesome exhibition. While he was there, I didn't even know he had traveled to Saudi Arabia. They were showing one of his new works. He sent me a message, and he said, see, send me some pictures. And I'm like, whoa, okay, we'll look into this. Then later, send me a link to check a few things. So that has helped us to keep tweaking, to keep working, to keep interpreting and expressing the vision, to make it as relevant as it, because we're not here for 5 years. We're not here for 5 years. The photo festival is not my hustle. I'm not doing this to be able to earn a living. Opportunities has come from doing photo festival. Of course, a workman is deserving of his wages. But like I said, earlier on, that I still put money into it. We have never broken even doing photo festival. So there's no way we could have been doing this. So if it's not hustle, it is not ego, it is not let it be me too as I did do.
Yeah, so the festival has become a platform for many young photographers. I mean, the vision you had. So what would you advise people to do differently, in order to become relevant or to continue to remain relevant in the media space?
First is honesty, and that's on many levels. First, honesty to why you began. So there's a group photograph that I was taken during the first photo festival. Anytime I look at that photo festival, I see three things. I see people who came into photography because it was trendy. I see people who came into photography because it was trendy, to hang a camera and say, I'm a photographer. Then I see people who came into photography because they could earn a living. Then I see very tiny minority who were in this because they were honest with themselves that this is what they want to do. I've seen these three categories. The first, because it was trendy, they're still barely there. The second, by the time they got other opportunity, they dropped their camera and they went to for deliberate. But the ones who were honest with the plan of coming into photography, I've seen their careers move from here to here. Very few of them.
Not only.
My mentor told me, one of the images that actually took him, put him out there today. He just took the image. He was honest with the image, and somewhere at the bar beach. And years later, that image was seen by international audience, and it became a whole lot. So the content that is created, the material that is created from a certain level of energy can only stand the test of time. When you create material, when you create a story, when you do a film, when you do a body of work as a photographer, you create a particular content, the intention for that thing, time will reveal it all. So if you're not honest with the materials you create, maybe you just want to create as, let me just put it there, it will just be there. But if you put your soul, if you're honest with this work, that this is a part of me, and you put it out there, 10 years later, somebody from a museum from Austria, a museum from Belgium, a museum from Kenya could reach out and say, please, we want this image, second level. Then the third level, the people you work with. Just 2 days ago, somebody had reached out to me from our WhatsApp community group about a financial transaction is having with somebody. And they're bringing me into it, which I often don't like. When you guys were discussing, you didn't tell me about it. And if it had gone successful, you won't have called me into it and pay me a part of the transaction fee. But it has gone south, you're coming to disturb me. But I just discovered that in all of this, what happened was somebody was being dishonest.
Right.
Now, people do business with people they like and they trust, not the people with their best skill set. Because there will always be skill sets, but attitude is rare. So if you're not a honest person, be the best photographer. You're going to have a one-time client. And that one-time client is going to tell other people about who you are. Nobody will bring business to you. So to be around for a long time doesn't mean, yes, mistakes won't be made. But when mistakes are made, own it and find a way to fix it. That's what people are looking for. So to be around for a long time is at this level. And we've seen this happen at the photo festival, particularly because we've seen it as the operating model of our instructors and our guides and our mentors for the festival. These are people who have done stuff at international level and they've never been one scandal.
Yeah.
You know, and we try to mold it because we don't want to lose that relationship. In fact, one of them particularly told me in 2021 photo festival, when I asked him the same question, he says, Osaze, just be honest. Just be a person of integrity. If you collect an artist work and you want to go and use it to collect money, let the artist know I have an agreement that this money is going to come out from this thing and this is how we're going to share it. Don't give anybody the impression that you're taking advantage of them. We do the photo festival, we don't ask people to pay, even though now there's an aspect of the festival that might require payment this time. We are tweaking that model. But we do the photo festival, we don't ask people to pay. So, not that we do the photo festival, collect money, and go and get a Hakim Salam, go and get Uche James Siroa, go and get Don Baba, get Yagazi, get Big H, and we now use them to do Osho free work, where we have collected money from participants. No. So, I am even sometimes think that these guys, of course, they are smart guys. They have done the back check on us because at that their level, they would want to put their name, their hard-earned name, on something that would, mess them up. So they would have checked that what are these guys. So honesty is very key. But beyond honesty, you have to create works that matter. And that's also on two levels. So we look at the technicality. You have to understand the science of the art. Because except you just want to be a local champion, to create materials that can be in rooms of power and good money, you have to understand the art, the science of this art, and create at that level. Then the second thing is, what kind of stories are you telling? There are many cliche stories around. However, nothing is new under the sun. But how you interpret that old also matters. So for you to be relevant, you have to be authentic with not only how you tell the story, which is the science of the art, but also the kind of story you're telling. On my way from Jos 3 or 4 days ago, I saw a couple of things on the way. And it just occurred to me that why can't we do a story on this? I'm not sure I've seen a story. So I had a conversation with a few friends. I'm like, what? I think we can do something around this. So the authenticity of that work, when properly interpreted, it's going to get some attention. So to be relevant, you have to create uniquely. I can't remember how many billion images come on social media every month. Hundreds of millions every week. Hundreds of thousands every day. For you to be distinct, for you to be put, for you to be seen, and seen for a long time, to be able to hold attention for a long time, your material has to be unique. Which also comes back to your why. All right, so we talked about honesty, we talked about your material. Then you as a person. So the challenge that many creatives have is that we just read photography and hang out with photography friends and see photography movies and buy photography t-shirts. For you to be able to connect your art to different phases of human endeavors, you have to read wide. So you should be able to sit on a panel on climate change. You're able to sit on a panel of human rights. You're able to sit on a panel of politics. You're able to sit on something on judiciary and be able to see how you as an artist interpret this. The world has seen what they are seeing at their spaces. When you bring an artistic interpretation to conversation, it puts you in a different category. It takes you beyond the cameraman and makes you an agent of change. And agents of change are the people who are remembered for the long time, not necessarily because you're a photographer. So these are some of the areas that the young photographers can really begin to work on their character, work on how they understand the art of photography, and open their mind to see from broader perspectives and be able to plug their work to different level of human endeavor.
Yeah, I think the next thing we'll do is to bring on someone that would talk on personal branding, because this platform is aside the conversation, it's also aimed at educating. You know, I when I was registering it on Spotify, I picked education angle because I know this is what this platform, the podcast, will really do, focus more to enlighten people, and then, you know. Yeah, so thank you very much for your time, Osaze.
Right. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We appreciate your coming and hope to seeing more of the activities before the festival.
Sure.
Yeah, is there anything you would want to say to the viewers or listeners about upcoming events or any other thing you want to add?
I think I basically touched on generally on on everything. It's just let's just love what we do. Let's love what we do. They say love conquers all.
Right.
You know, when you love what you do, the journey becomes stress. The stress of the journey will take a toll on you. Actually, yeah, you may feel the odds, but you love it. You wake up every morning to it. So, if you don't love photography, please, there are other things you can do with your life. This business is for lovers. Because if you don't love this work, you're going to be a hindrance to those of us who love it. You're going to give a wrong impression. You're going to give a bad name to those of us who so love this thing. You're going to sabotage the good work that those of us who love this work. So if you don't love it, stay aside, support us, refer us, and whatever you're doing that you love, you're going to thrive in it. I'm tired of people playing so mediocre because they are doing this work with half of their heart. No. I've seen few guys like you who are pouring their all into this work, and I see what is possible. I'm like, if you're not really doing this work with all of your heart, then there's no need, to do so. I would just say to you, listening to this, that love this work or leave those of us who love it to keep doing it.
Very well. Then on that note, say thank you so much for watching. Thank you once again.
You're welcome.